What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome back to another video. Today, we are going to be continuing the series of the top 5 players I'd like to see the Jets target in the 2025 NFL Draft in positions of need. And then, probably much awaited, we're going to address the quarterback position today. So, you know, numerous different ways the New York Jets can go about the quarterback position. They could sign Justin Fields. They could keep Tyrod Taylor. They could wait and see if Jordan Travis is healthy and ready to go. They could draft someone in the first or the mid rounds. There's a lot of different ways that they can go. This is the uncertainty of the quarterback position for the New York Jets is honestly fascinating, to be honest with you. This is one of the only seasons that I could say that I'm kind of sort of excited to see which direction Darren Moogie and Aaron Glenn take the quarterback position. So we're going to start this video off with some honorable mentions here. So just in case you guys don't know how this video is recorded, we do honorable mentions, and then I go 5 players in order of the draft. So I won't say, oh, hey, I want to see Cam Miller, for instance, be drafted, in the 7th round, and then we're going to go to Cam Ward, the next player. Not like that. We're going to go sort of kind of in order of where I think these guys are going to be projected to go. So our honorable mentions here, I have Shedeur Sanders, number 1. Obviously, I think he's going inside the top 10. Maybe, we could even expand it to top 20. There's a couple reasons why he's in my honorable mentions. One being that Shedeur he's mobile. And it's been well documented that Moogie and Glenn do prefer a quarterback that is mobile. So not necessarily someone who's going to run a ton, but someone that could, escape the pocket, extend the play. Something like what Aaron Rodgers used to be. Not his 41-year-old self that he was last season. So Shedeur Sanders is someone to me that just his pocket awareness isn't nearly where it should be, to be quite honest with you. And then, of course, it's the media baggage that comes with him, his father, everything. I hate to be that boomer type of guy that says, if you draft Shedeur Sanders, you draft Deion Sanders as well. But it kind of sort of seems to be like that. I'm not saying that Deion is going to be all up in his business. He has Colorado to worry about for sure. But it's just the New York is a media conglomerate to begin with, especially when it comes to sports. It's not for the weak, not for the faint of heart. Shedeur Sanders coming with this media presence, his dad coming with this media presence. It just kind of seems like a recipe for disaster, if we're being quite honest with you. So that's why he's in my honorable mention. But in terms of him being a player, I think what he lacks in arm talent, I think he makes up in other areas of the field. He's tremendously accurate, and he's got that clutch factor to him as well. So I think Shedeur is going to be a fine pro. I just don't really want to see him in Jets colors next year. Quinn Ewers is another guy that is blessed with physical abilities, but just can't put it together on a consistent basis, at least on film. There is a video out there of Quinn Ewers' 2023-24 season, and every single throw that he made. I know that that's two seasons ago at this point, but I've sat and I've watched that video twice, and that is a 2+ hour long video, believe it or not. And yes, I do have quite a bit of downtime at my job sometimes. So yes, I did watch that video twice, and the inconsistencies are just crazy. The deep accuracy. I mean, the guy could throw the ball 70+ yards, but if you're throwing it 10+ yards over the receiver's head every single time, what are we doing here? Quinn Ewers is someone that I think could be a nice long-term project, and the Jets are just not in the business, in my opinion, of having a long-term project. They need someone with upside quickly, someone that's going to go through rookie growing pains, of course, but someone that is not viewed as a long-term project. Tyler Shuck is another one here. That's how you say, not Tyler Shogue, it's Tyler Shuck. Tyler Shuck would easily be in my top 5 if it wasn't for the fact that he is a 7th-year senior on his 3rd team and has multiple injuries on his CV already. He honestly, if he had a clean bill of health and was a 3rd or 4th year player, he could, talent-wise, physically, he could probably be up there with Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders as being considered as the number 1 quarterback off the board. I'm really not kidding. He's a fantastic player. I just think with the age and the injury concerns already, that's something that I just really don't want to get into in terms of him being drafted by the New York Jets. Seth Hennigan is another player that historically I like quite a bit. Memphis quarterback. I think that he's someone that's going to be 5th, 6th round type of quarterback. 6'3", 212 pounds, has a really accurate arm, has a good enough arm to make every NFL throw, and is pretty mobile. I mean, if you look at his stats throughout his time at Memphis, his rushing attempts have gone down significantly, but I believe his junior year or his sophomore year, he had something upwards of about 400 yards on the ground, 5 touchdowns. He definitely has enough mobility. And then Cam Miller is a name that maybe not a lot of people are exactly familiar with, but Cam Miller is coming off of probably one of the most productive collegiate careers we've ever seen. I think he tied the FCS record for wins in a career with 70 over his 5-year span at North Dakota State. Hasn't thrown more than 5 interceptions in a season in his collegiate career, but is a little bit undersized for the position, 6 foot, 210 pounds, but he does have that playmaker trait. He's like Houdini back there. He escapes pressure, doesn't get sacked too often, and can make things happen down the field. Has a really good arm as well, and just insane athleticism. So if the Jets want to take a late round flyer on someone that could be a developmental quarterback on the practice squad, or a third quarterback if they decide to, do away with Adrian Martinez, I think Cam Miller would be someone that could kind of fit that third quarterback mold pretty well. And now we're going to get into it. Of course, Cam Ward is going to be number one on my list. 6'3", 223 pounds, 6'2", 223 pounds, 4,313 passing yards. The two numbers with the slash is indicative of the touchdown to interception ratio and his yards per attempt. So I went with strictly passing numbers because, yes, these are quarterbacks. So Cam Ward, 39 touchdown passes. He was fantastic, finished 4th in Heisman voting this past year. I think far and away he is the best quarterback in this draft class. I think physically, athletically, I wouldn't say he's the best athletic quarterback, but when you combine all the attributes and intangibles together, I think Cam Ward is pretty far and away the best quarterback. There's really not much to say here that I haven't said already in my latest mock draft where I did trade up to the number 1 overall pick and get Cam Ward. Yeah, I do believe that Cam Ward is not going to fall past the New York Giants probably. If Tennessee decides to go Abdul Carter, then Cam Ward is probably going to be the 2nd overall pick. And then if he's not the 2nd overall pick, he'll probably be the 3rd overall pick. So the Jets, this does come with an asterisk. The Jets would have to trade up to get Cam Ward. And as I've seen in the comments of my mock draft, even though that was really for funsies, a lot of people are severely against the idea of trading up into the top 3, basically for the number 1 overall pick. Because if you don't trade up for the number 1 overall pick, you're probably going to end up with someone else at number 2 or number 3. So Cam Ward is someone that does come, like I said, with an asterisk. You're going to have to trade up, but arm-wise, just poise in the pocket. He senses pressure well. He's extremely calm under pressure, and I think he might be the only quarterback in this draft class that I think is a true franchise game changer. I think you could plug him in as a starter on day 1, and he could make you kind of, I want to say, maybe of a more physically imposing Jaden Daniels, not to the extent of how successful he's going to be, but I think that he could turn one of these top 5 teams around into a playoff team very, very quickly. So at number 2 here, I have Jaxson Dart. This is a player that I think his projection is all over the place. I've seen him as high as number 7 to the New York Jets, which I wouldn't really be so excited about that. I would be excited about the player, just not where they picked him. But I settled on top 50 because I do feel like with all the hype that he is getting and how he's going to test at the NFL Combine, which is this weekend, I think he's going to be absolutely fine. And he is someone that's physically imposing, is a playmaker, can extend plays, and the proof is in the pudding. I mean, 10.8 yards per attempt is absolutely absurd, especially in SEC play. That's absolutely absurd. 4,279 yards, 29 touchdowns, 6 picks. This was, in terms of touchdown to interception ratio and yards, this was his best overall year. Someone, again, that can run the football as well. I think a lot of people get the term mobile quarterback misconstrued. I think what they think a mobile quarterback is a Mike Vick, is a Lamar Jackson, Cam Newton, someone that's going to take the ball and is going to run a ton. No, I think a mobile quarterback is someone that could get outside the pocket, make throws on the run, not necessarily a running quarterback. Someone that, yes, can run if need be, but someone that's not going to have designed runs. So Jaxson Dart is a player that I do like quite a bit. And honestly, out of everyone on this list, I'd say I'd probably be the most excited for Jaxson Dart, or number 3, which is coming up right next. Yeah, number 3 here is going to be Kyle McCord, and he kind of fits into that mobile type of quarterback that I was just talking about, where Kyle McCord has some sneaky athleticism, where he can extend plays, he senses pressure very well, and he climbs and escapes the pocket extremely well. These numbers are extremely inflated as Syracuse threw the ball an absolute ton. I believe Kyle McCord had the most pass attempts in the country last year. I think it was something like 535 attempts in 13 games or whatever it may be. Yeah, 34 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. That's why the yards per attempt is so low, because he just had so many attempts. 4,779 yards, I believe, led the FBS. I could be wrong in that, but I'm pretty sure it was very high up there, if not top 5, probably. Yeah, top 75 draft projection. Again, this is someone that I think that easily could be right after the first round, could be in that Will Levis situation where he was the first. Will Levis was the first quarterback taken on day 2 a couple years ago. I believe he was the 33rd overall pick or 34th, something around that. But Kyle McCord could definitely be in that range of that early day 2 guy, and probably even, I don't say he gets past the Jets. If the Jets don't take a quarterback at number 7, I could, if Kyle McCord is there on the board at number 42, I could either it being Jaxson Dart or Kyle McCord. But McCord is someone that, kind of got a little disrespected after his time in Ohio State. Went to a much smaller program in terms of success in Syracuse, and he really lit it up. He was fantastic. Outside of that Pitt game where he threw like 3 pick sixes, he was exceptional all year long and led to the Orange to one of their most successful seasons ever. So Kyle McCord is a player that I think his skill set, I think he's the best pure pocket passer in the draft class. I think he's someone that you could really just let grip it and rip it. But in terms of mobility, he definitely has more than enough to climb, escape, and extend the play. I really like Kyle McCord quite a bit. And then, of course, we have Jalen Milroe here. Now, if you want to talk about athleticism and just like a physical standpoint from the quarterback position, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone that's probably more impressive than Jalen Milroe. He's going to test out at the same athleticism as like a dynamic running back or a dynamic wide receiver. Athletically, he's superiorly gifted than basically any other quarterback in this class. Fantastic frame, 6'2", 225 pounds. Probably plays a little bit lighter, probably closer to that 210 range. But his frame, he's got a strong muscular frame. He's not someone that you look at and go, oh God, he can't take hits. Like how we saw Zach Wilson was 6'2", 215 pounds, and he looked like he was 170 pounds soaking wet. No, Jalen Milroe has a ton of muscle on him. He's built to take hits. This is the guy that I think, if the Jets truly are in long-term planning in terms of drafting a quarterback and developing a quarterback, this might be the best of the lot, because he just needs so much development in terms of passing the football. But athletically, he is extremely gifted. And don't let these numbers fool you. 2,884 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. The last couple of years at Alabama, he really hasn't had the cream of the crop talent that we're used to seeing guys like Tua, Jalen Hurts, Mac Jones have. This was on they're still fantastic players, but this was on the downside of the Alabama talent that he did have in front of him. And he made this team a lot better than they really should have been both years. But Jalen Milroe, I think, is a long-term project. So if the Jets do want to go that route, I think Jalen Milroe will probably be the best, because he just has so much upside in terms of athleticism, a cannon for an arm as well. He's just got to put it all together. And really that comes down to Moogie and Glenn and the offensive staff, if they could truly develop a quarterback, which historically in Jets history, that has not been the case. And then my final guy here, I have Will Howard from Ohio State, another guy that was kind of disrespected as the heir to the Kyle McCord throne, transferring from Kansas State to Ohio State, and was basically gifted with an NFL caliber offense. But he did exactly what he had to do. He would have been persecuted if they didn't win the college football championship, because of all the talent that he did have. So I'll be quite honest with you guys. He was a player that I really was not high on and really impressed with at all coming to Ohio State. But during the college football playoffs against some true talented teams, he made some tight window throws and some fantastic layered passes that I really didn't think he was capable of. And it really opened my eyes to the player that Will Howard could potentially be. I mean, he's got probably the most impressive frame overall in terms of the quarterbacks in this draft class. 6'4", 6'5", depending on what you see, upwards of 235 to 250 pounds. This guy is built sort of kind of like Josh Allen. I'm not saying he is that Josh Allen type, but as you know from his time in Kansas State, he could easily run the ball. He could, like I said, he could fit that ball into tight windows. He has more than enough arm strength. I think this is a sleeper for early day 3 that a team can take a punt on and develop quickly, and he could become, I don't want to say a star, but he could become definitely a high caliber starting quarterback in the NFL. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There is my 5 quarterbacks that I would love to see the Jets target in the 2025 NFL Draft. Let me know what quarterbacks you want the Jets to target in the 2025 NFL Draft, if you want them to target any at all. And let me know in the comment section below if you think I missed anyone. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.